What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're here.
Give me that before you hurt yourself.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Here, brought my E46 M3. We actually have last minute kind of like meetup, car cruise, car wash thing. I don't even fucking know, but it's pretty cool. So as the thumbnail suggests, we're going to be dropping some technical information in a new series that we're calling Talking Tech. Duh. It's something that Theo and I are kind of co-hosting. It's an opportunity for us to give, you know, some more in-depth information on cars and some of the builds we do for you guys who really like that technical information. You know, that way there's a little bit of something for everyone, you know. So enough of me talking now in the intro. Enjoy this montage of the car getting washed and all that good stuff, and then we'll hop right in to all of the good stuff about my E46 M3 suspension. Let's do it. You know what? I actually have to take a second and say thank you, because earlier today, before he and I even met up, we actually hit our first milestone of 100 subscribers. So I want to say thank you to everyone who has been a part of the journey so far, and for any of you who may be tuning into this video now, I thank you for watching, and if you wouldn't mind smashing that subscribe button, you would keep up to date with all the awesome content we have planned. We only get better as time goes on. But for the time being, back to my awesome E46 M3. The topic of discussion with this car is what's really the best street setup, right? A lot of people are going to talk about individual components on the forums and what they feel is the best. So, you know, it's really subject to opinion, because there's a lot of mods where some people would say, oh yeah, you know, go with these mounts do solid, or these ones do poly. I've built my whole E46, so I can tell you, having been in other cars with, you know, different setups in comparison to mine, I can give an honest review of really how I think the car performs. And let's start off, I guess, with the main one, which is when you're doing bushings on the car, should you go solid or should you go poly? My personal suggestion, I go with the softest grade poly. I know there's going to be a lot of people who would immediately jump to me and say, oh, why not go with the hardest poly? You still get the noise canceling effect out of it because it's not a solid mount. Wrong. It's actually closer, at least from my experience, it was closer to solid mount bushings, and it's just a little too harsh. Like, it's enough to notice. It's not a subtlety that I can overlook, because when you do just one set of bushings that are like that, that's one thing. But when you do all of the bushings on the car that hard, you feel it everywhere, and it gets annoying, especially if you're dailying the car. Oh my goodness, this road. I don't daily my E46 anymore, but I can tell you that when I do take it out on the weekends and, you know, just driving around like we are right now, it's not an unbearable ride. And then, of course, the big one, to another big item that a lot of people are probably going to jump to first, coilovers. What do I think of them? Well, now they've settled in, I can tell you I am beyond impressed with the BC coilovers. I have them on another car. I don't know that car yet, but I have had them on another car, and I hadn't ever pushed it like I have on this platform. Let me tell you, it's so composed. We actually went on a run the other night, and I don't know what got into me, but everything just felt right, and the line was perfect. The car just did everything I told it to, quite literally. At some points,
He was talking to the car.
I was literally narrating it. I was indeed. But everything was just flawless. The only thing I've adjusted on this car was the ride height for fitment prior to getting the alignment done, and then I added one click on the front coilovers. That's it. Everything else out of the box, phenomenal. Preload was set great. I really think that I stand by it. It's the best coilover you can buy for the money. I am very confident to say that in most cases, the canyons here in Southern California, this car feels more composed and much more at home and confidence inspiring than a lot of the supercars I've been in. Because yeah, when you have a perfectly flat surface, the supercars are gonna always feel like, you know, like they're on rails. But as soon as you hit a bump mid-corner, it's kind of one of those pucker factor moments where you're like, oh no, I have no idea what's gonna happen. Please bite when I land, you know? I've had some pretty scary calls as a passenger and driver in supercars, but this, you can be going wicked speeds around turns and it just navigates bumps so easily. It's just so composed. It takes it and then it just like, it's like it's stepping over the bump and continues going. It's crazy. I don't know.
I mean, I have some cool friends with some cool cars, and said friends like to drive fast, so I'm pretty used to getting quick car rides, and I usually feel pretty comfortable, especially when I trust a driver like Nico. But that night he's talking about when he really took this car to the limit. I mean, he put butterflies in my stomach. This car is something else kind of in the canyons, and it's a combination. It's not just the handling, it's the way it builds power up top, it's the NA, it's the shifting. This thing is an experience, and the suspension is really just adding to the equation very nicely.
I'd agree with that. But talking about other points like Theo mentioned that kind of add up to the whole driving experience of the car, let's talk about how it is driving with the 6-speed. I have tried so many different vehicles with so many different shifter setups. Let me tell you that I have never found a better setup than what I'm running. And no, it's not just because it's my car, it's because I spent the time and I talked with the experts on what was going to be the best setup for this period. I know there's a lot of buddies of mine who like to run the really tall shifters that feel notchy, or really short shifters. You know, I'm really not a fan of that at all. I hate questioning what gear I'm in, and with this car, it's effortless. You can bang gears, but you know exactly where you're at. It's not like you're ever going to question if you're going into 5th or 3rd after you're shifting up from 4th gear. You know, everything is very well laid out. Actually, this is the perfect turn to test the coilovers right here. So this thing is just like a bump right now, mid-turn.
Not even phased.
Not even phased. The dampening is just spot on. Just the compression, the rebound, the spring rates, everything is just so perfect on this car. It's so well behaved. I can take this right here at double the speed, and this car is completely composed. Why is this guy chewing my butt right now? Dude, you're in an E-Class. You do not want this, my friend. You do not want this smoke.
Coils.
Okay, so yeah, coilovers. Why'd I go with BC? Well, it was kind of one of these moments where it's like, do I spend a lot of money, get Ohlins, and have it sent out and get custom valves and all that, and probably end up spending like $8,000? I feel like there's other things I can put that money towards in this particular car. So you gotta kind of like pick and choose your battles. I've had experience with BC in the past. They're honestly great. You can't beat them. And as you just saw, this thing negotiates turns, bumps, everything so well. My only comment would be that I wouldn't add a whole lot of, how should I say, compression and rebound. Like, I wouldn't turn up the stiffness on these coilovers because it'll lead to, one, very uncomfortable driving conditions, and then two, it's just not going to respond the way you need it in the canyons. Now, if you're on a nicer surface track, then yeah, I'd maybe look into turning it up a little bit. But
not everyone's backyard looks like the Nürburgring.
Not everyone's backyard looks like the Nürburgring.
One day.
Exactly. Maybe one day, but so keeping that in mind, I'd highly recommend, you know, just keeping it at the settings that come from BC and crank it up only one on the front. It's amazing how that just kind of like ties the whole car together. And
I mean, just, you know, get good coils within your budget. Nico recommends BC. I believe him.
have turned. As you can see, this is the first time Theo has driven this car since it's had a lot of the newest modifications added, and that would include the coilovers, wheels and tires, and, you know, proper alignment, ride height adjustment, and then some tweaking on the struts.
And let me just say, it is a world of a difference. I mean, wow, this thing turns in so well. This is my raw reaction, by the way. This thing turns in on a dime. I mean, it is so much fun, and it feels like the ratio is quicker than it was before, but it's just suspension and tires. This thing is fantastic. It's planted. It's not going anywhere. It's a lot of fun. For a canyon, this is just about a perfect setup.
Take this at this speed. Throttle through.
Holy shit, you drive this every day?
Not anymore, she's been retired. So you see, like, so that right there is a prime example of what I wanted to show you. He has not been behind the wheel of this car prior to literally us hopping on camera. Like, when you saw the video start, that was him in first gear for the first time since I've done everything on the car. And it just goes to show how I, as a passenger, am not nervous in my own car to let a friend literally mash it in a gear and just zip around a turn. But I'm also gonna say I'm gonna be biased to my car to an extent, so I'm gonna let him give his opinion now, being behind the wheel, of what all of these modifications did, both having ridden as a passenger and now as a new driver of this car.
I mean, all I can say about this car is that it's poised. You get in, I mean, granted, Nico has a pretty upfront and, you know, racy kind of seating position, but this whole car, if you let it get to you, it's gonna make you feel like you need to go fast. I mean, the way it revs, the throws of this shifter, this car means business, and it makes you feel like you have to drive fast to make it all kind of work. And in a certain way you do, but this guy drives it like butter. But when I get in this thing, I mean, really, these modifications make it feel like a poised canyon machine. I almost stalled it out there starting in second, because that's Nico's kind of technique. This clutch is, the clutch throw, it's short. The shifter.
You use the 944, you need to slow your foot down so much.
This is true. I drive a Porsche 944, and you know, that thing, it's almost like using a bicycle machine at the gym, how much you have to move your foot. So this is quite the world over for me. But like, wow, this car is on its toes. It's ready to attack a canyon. It turns in quick. It revs up quickly. I mean, I'm even forgetting how much clutch there is to use because it disengages so fast. I mean, this thing is here to fuck. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to say it. It really is. Oh man, this thing is a bucket of fun. Much better. Oh, hello, Camry. Holy fuck, oh my gosh. This thing is so much fun. And it's just the shift. I mean, I'm not gonna take this car hard at all. I barely need to get on the throttle, but you turn the wheel, the car goes. It's almost like you're talking to it. I mean, the other night, Nico was talking to it while driving. He was like, turn in right, and the car just goes. And I can see why. This car is truly something to have a conversation with. And when you get on it, sure, it may only have, what, about 330 to the wheels, but that does not matter. I cannot give less of a shit. You turn the wheel and it goes. I mean, this thing is fantastic. Oh, man. What? I mean, understeer, I don't know what that is. Never heard of him. Wow. I like it.
That's why. That bump.
Yep. Like, granted, this is my friend's car. Yeah, he's letting me drive it. Yeah, you would assume I just want to give you a positive review. But, I mean, this thing is like, how do I say it? It's darty, it's poised. The whole setup, it's tasteful. It doesn't feel like I'm not scared to drive it. Although this gearbox, we'll get into a second, I mean, it is something to behold. When you engage a gear, it knocks in. It's like a bolt action rifle on crack made out of billet aluminum. I mean, I'm starting to talk like freaking Chris Harris over here. This car is making me British car journalist.
It's actually really cool feelings from the passenger seat. I'm not gonna lie. You guys probably think I'm scared and I'm laughing because of that. I'm really not. Because I pushed this car so hard, so I know exactly what it will do. It's just so funny feeling what it was before and what it is now, and not having a single doubt in my mind about this car's potential. Like, it's just
the slightest suggestion, it's like I'm thinking, and the car just does what I'm thinking. It's like a connection between man and machine, and now I sound like a BMW commercial, but like, I mean it. This thing is, it's just so good. Oh man. And you don't have to push it beyond like 3/10 to feel that. What? I mean, you guys know I have that G20 340i, and that car's good. You know, I've never thought it was slow. I never thought it was bad in the canyons, but man, is it bad in the canyons when you're in this thing. This car, can we just talk about this motor? And this gearbox. Guys, get an E46. You have some spare money? Just get an E46. Just get one. DM Nico. He'll give you a list. See, I left it in neutral because this gearbox, it's this notchy ass shifter. Oh man, I don't know. I can't even compose myself. I can't even put it into gear. I can't even put it into gear without messing up.
You were gonna say your points about the gearbox, though.
I mean, Rogue Engineering, what, 30%?
Yeah.
I mean, this thing, it's like, hold on, don't stall. Perfect. I could work at a dealership. It's like, look at this, bang, bang. It's like a distinct knock when you get out of gear into neutral. When you get into gear, it's like hitting the crispest wall you've ever felt. There's just no doubt what gear you're in, what you're doing, and granted, it does take a little more pressure to get through that, but once you do, it's positive. Like you said, you don't really like short shifters, things that are harder than a rock to move. You know, Nico used to bodybuild, and sure, he's strong, but this car, it rewards you for driving mindfully. It rewards you for really being part of the experience. It rewards you for driving. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to press a shifter with my pinky. I'm here to put a car into gear. And when you put this car into gear, it's like thunk thunk.
Yep.
It's a satisfying driving experience. It rewards the driver. Granted, it doesn't have 700 horsepower, but like, if you give the car good inputs, it will give you good outputs, and that's more you can ask for in a car like this.
100%.
Oh man.
I think one of the important things to touch on the gearbox, a lot of the things you'll find on the internet is people talking about missing gears and things like that when they're downshifting or upshifting. And what I found really made the difference is when, first of all, I went with Rogue Engineering and their short shift kit. I talked with the owner there. He's an absolute genius, and we talked about this for like 45 minutes about how the synchros in these transmissions, they just can't take super short throws or you'll just start eating through it unnecessarily. So what I had him do was give me everything already preset, and we maxed it out, which is what he thought was safe, and that's a 30% shorter throw than factory. So to make up for, you know, the lack of short throw, I chose a weighted knob. And I know you'd think it's such a small detail, like how would that make a difference, but it does make all the difference when you're driving the car, because when you learn the motion of how to just move your hand as one fluid motion, it goes into gear exactly where you want it. And then to make sure that it would go into gear when you're racing, like, or driving very aggressively, you have to change out all of the components in the shifting assembly. So Rogue Engineering's kit is very complete, but I believe there still are a couple other things that one can change, which I would recommend doing. And one of those items being also the transmission mounts and the engine mounts. The transmission mounts, I went with their polyurethane upgrade, and then for the engine mounts, I just went with OEM. I didn't do any poly on the OEM. I didn't think that for stock power would be necessary. The stock ones are more than fine. I've had no problems with it. I've never missed a gear downshifting, and he can vouch for me. I've pushed this car really hard.
Like really hard.
You know, like downshifting to where I'm going from like 4th to 3rd, and when I'm downshifting, I'm going up to 7,000 RPM in 3rd gear.
Oh
so
my God. It just takes it. I mean, every corner you turn the wheel. That was insane. Sorry.
I see what happens. I do all the talking, and then he starts getting more and more happy with
is respect this car, and it'll give you the time of your life. Let me tell you, this shifter is magical. Oh man, it makes you feel like you're operating a weapon, and it's no less than what this car is.
It's truly remarkable. Sometimes I can't believe I put together this package, but I spent a lot of time really thinking about what I was gonna do and why.
How was that? That shouldn't have happened. Anyways,
How it didn't even bitch. I just went right around.
that was 40. What? That was 40 at literally a chicane in the canyons. I didn't have to think about it.
This thing is nuts. So yeah, you guys, if you want to see more about the power mods and things that I've done, go and watch. I'll drop the thing right here. It's the video about the arcade tune that I did on this car. I went in depth about everything in that tune and supporting power mods and what's really the best bang for the buck upgrades on here. This was just made to kind of have a quick discussion about you know, the suspension and the chassis setup for all of you E46 owners out there, or potentially E46 owners who are just looking for what the best route is going to be for your car.
This is the best route. Hands down, this is the best route. I mean, what? You don't even have to think about it. BC coils, nice alignment, good wheels, or even your stock wheels. Just put some nice rubber on it, invest in that, and get a good short shifter. Don't get a shitty one. Get something nice. Reward yourself. And, you know, if you need a subframe, do your subframe, but don't sleep on the bushings, because they really make the car feel very put together.
100%. Couldn't agree more. So, with that said, I think it's about that time we're going to wrap up this episode of Talking Tech. I am your host, OG Goon. This is your other host,
Theo, and privileged test driver today. Thank you, Nico, for letting me drive Lucy.
My pleasure.
She's an absolute joy.
Well, it's actually kind of fun experience.